So I just wrote a fiction story. It's called A Book About Noah Kagan. So like, what do you recommend at a high level, and then some tactical about how do I get the word out about my new book, The Book About Noah Kagan?
It's fiction?
Yeah, it's a fiction book about this guy that has big ears, kind of balding. He runs tech companies and like...
Is this a serious question?
It's more of, I think, for everyone
No,
out
like,
there.
did you actually do this?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But I think people are writing memoirs too early, so I'm not trying to write a memoir.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say that it sounds like a horrible idea. Don't do it. That would be my first advice.
Well, here's another example. There's a friend of ours named John Arrow, and this guy, like...
Who's this?
He lives actually a local guy.
Okay.
And he owns a plane, and like we went and looked at space stuff, and like he's just a very interesting person. He's like a Jacques Cousteau of the modern age.
Okay.
And he runs like a tech company, and he sold it, and he made some money. And I was like, I want to write a book about him, right? Just a book about John Arrow. He's like the modern mystery man, the modern travel man.
Yeah.
Like, how would I go about marketing that book exactly?
What's really hard, very few people are looking for biographies of people they've never heard of.
Okay.
So like that's...
No, I think that's a great point.
And people make that mistake, right? Like people go like, oh, I'm going to write... Like I hear from a lot of like info marketing people who are entrepreneurial, but they want to write a book about entrepreneurship. And I go, do you think most people view you as an entrepreneur? Do you know what I mean? Like people think, when I say the word entrepreneur, people think Mark Zuckerberg. So when you know, John Smith of like internetmarketingmillionaire.com writes a book about entrepreneurship, that's not what your average reader thinks. Yeah. So you got to be real honest about that. It's not a reason you shouldn't do it, but you got to be honest about it.
All right, so let's try to come up with the book I think people actually want.
Yeah.
So
but let's say you do have, like, I'm just saying that's an important marketing decision.
I think that's a great question. No, I just want to highlight that. So I think a lot of people have come to me, how do I do marketing? Because I love marketing and I'm good with it. But it's like, it's not the marketing that's the problem, it's your product.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's a great point just to reiterate.
Yeah. And then there are plenty of books about unknown people that are successful the books that sell. But we like, just like there's plenty of movies, like really artistic movies that become huge successes, right? But they're amazingly produced. Like they're amazing, right? Like you have to do that. You have to go like, my burden is so much higher. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, an action film doesn't have to be as good as like an ensemble movie with like 20 of the most famous actors of all time, right?
So we've made the great movie a great book.
So then I would the first thing you're gonna hear from publishers or other people is like, what's your platform? Who is buying the first 1,000 copies of this thing? If you don't know, that's probably a bad, you know, like who is it? Who are you selling this to? And I think this is what the Sumo tools are really good for. Like one of the first things I do with authors is like, your book is like 9 months out. What are we giving away on your website to get email addresses, because those are the people we're going to have to market this book to. So I would think that, and then I would think, you know, what are pieces of the book you can give away? What are you know, hey, maybe nobody knows this guy, so they're not going to buy this book, but you could write an amazing article about him that would go viral on Medium. The 27 crazy things I learned about so-and-so. And maybe that becomes a growth engine to get people to hear about the person who are then they're interested in buying the book. So there's a lot of stuff to do.
So basically, just to summarize, number one, make a product that you know that people want to some extent, and like having your Venn diagram in the beginning. Yep. Number two, I liked your point. It's like, focus on who are the first 1,000 and how are you going to get them? Yes. Right? I think a lot of people are like, well, I put it on Amazon, no one's buying it.
Of course not.
Right? They're hoping.
Yeah, do you know how many books are on Amazon?
How many?
No, I'm saying, do you know how many books are on Amazon? That's why they're not buying it.
Tens of millions?
Got to be probably even more than that. I mean, look, I'll see books that have a 2 million rank on Amazon. That means 2 million books are selling more than your book. That's hard.
I think I'm in the 100,000s, dude.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so I think that's a good point where let's not worry about how to sell like a bestseller, but like, look, focus on the first 1,000, get them on your email list or get them in, like on a spreadsheet. It's actually funny. One of my favorite marketing stories for me is like, I ran for student government at Berkeley, and you only actually needed 300 votes to become a senator at Berkeley, which is fucking pathetic out of 30,000 people. You literally just need to take. And so I was like,
you could call 300 people.
And that's what I did. So I literally made a spreadsheet of 300 people with their phone numbers. Yeah. And the night before election, I literally called. I was like, hey, can you go vote tomorrow? And then afterwards, I called them, hey, did you vote? Yeah. And I was the number 2 vote getter in the whole campus.
There's a really good piece that Ryan Hoover, who created Product Hunt, did. And he was like, how I built my company to 2,000 users doing things that don't scale. And I think about that a lot. Sometimes like calling people or handing out flyers or
texting,
giving away 1,000 copies might be the best way to get 1,000 readers.
Hi, y'all. I'm Noah's mom. If you like what you're seeing, please give this video a share and leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll spank you. By the way, check out my playlist with Ryan Holiday for more goodies. Adios!